What's up, YouTube? You already know what it is. It's your boy Neo here. Today's video is going to be a bit longer than normal. This is going to be a deep dive into my full thoughts on New World, the MMO produced by AGS, aka Amazon. This is coming from 600 hours of experience, as well as watching a majority of the reviews already made. I know, there's already a lot of reviews. As always, if you are new to the channel and like the content, you want to see more reviews on games, or just the guides that I do, or random things that I do on YouTube, make sure you drop a sub. It's free, helps me out a lot, means a lot to me. And if you don't like the content, make sure you drop a sub. Then you'll know when I drop a new video, so you can come in and, you know, troll me in the comments. Win-win, right? Alright, let's get into the video. To preface everything, let's talk about New World's come up a bit. New World is an open world MMO, originally meant to be a full loot sandbox style MMO. What that means is, no matter where you are, if a player killed you, they could loot your items. Think like Albion Online. After seeing some backlash and realizing the audience for sandbox full looters was a very specific type of gamer, AGS switched its focus to the more theme park styled of an MMO like WoW or Final Fantasy, with a focus still on PvP. This information really sets the tone for where the state of the game is on a mechanical level, I think. Fast forward to September 28th, when the game releases. At this point, New World has underwent some massive changes since the first playtest. Many systems were fixed and changed, and we won't get into all the details since it'll be a massive time sink for the video, but we will summarize a bit based on what I believe I witnessed take place. Each test showed massive overhauls to mechanics and systems. For example, you used to be able to equip 4 weapons, and when you used your Q ability on weapon 1, weapons 2 through 4 would see their Q ability go on cooldown as well. What AGS showed throughout each test is that they really were putting in an effort to listen to their community. When something major was brought to light, they attacked it between each test, and it showed. However, it wasn't all ice cream and rainbows. Each time a new test was released, new problems would arise. Of course, this would be called out by the community and tackled between tests, but it seemed every time something was fixed, something else broke or was exploited, or both. Most would say this is how playtests work. And while you would be correct, we will revisit this part later. By the time the game was being released to the public, testers were torn on their stance. Half or more of the community did not believe the game was ready to be released due to many reasons. Most notably, the way each patch broke more stuff, as well as the fact that the game was in a really weird state, which can be seen currently at this very moment. At this moment, as you listen to this video, New World is not a theme park MMO. It is also not a sandbox MMO. It is currently somewhere in the middle. Now, this is not necessarily a bad thing if that was your goal and you can make it work, but that is not the case here. AGS wanted a sandbox, but they wanted more people, so they started the transition to theme park. At release, they were about halfway there, but they reached a roadblock because you can't really go much farther with how the systems they already had in place are so intertwined with how the game functions. For instance, the factions, which play a role in everything you do. On top of all this, it seems the farther you get into the game, the quests were never looked over and fixed up to par to fit this theme park style. Anyone who has done quite a few quests in New World knows if there was an award for worst quest system in a mainstream MMO, New World would win by a landslide. The rewards in almost every quest, all the way to the final one, are instantly salvaged as they are useless, like a heavy armor piece with strength and intellect, two stats that don't really work together. On top of this, outside of the last few zones, most areas feel copy pasted. The best example I can give is from my own experience. Recently, I ran into a quest, you guessed it, search some chests in a cave in Reekwater, the level 58 to 60 endgame zone. The quest had me enter a cave with lost enemies. That very same day, I decided to run around with my fiance and help her quest a bit, since she was more near the beginning of the game at the time. To my shock, well, not really, I ran a quest with her that she picked up, which was the exact same in a different zone. No, I don't mean search chests. We all know that is copy pasted throughout the game. I mean the cave, the enemies, where the enemies and chests spawn, even the resource spawns in the cave. This means the devs took a quest in an area from a level 1 through 25 zone to start the game, copied it, pasted the code in the 58 to 60 zone as a placeholder, you would think, then either forgot to change it or decided, hey, these gamers won't notice, and just left it there. I have my own opinions on what happened here, but this is all just one giant example to set up the conclusion of this video later on. Now that we have set up this long-winded introduction on some backstory and current state, let's get into the good and the bad. The good. The views, the art style, the graphics and design are probably the biggest selling point of this game. When traveling around in New World, especially in the beginning of your playthrough, the sights are really breathtaking. The way the sunlight comes through the trees, the night sky, the colors and scale of the world, it is all really well done. The life skilling is very addicting and very reminiscent of old school RuneScape. Grinding out levels to reach max level to make massive cash is very enjoyable for the PvE crowd. The housing system is really fun to mess with and decorate, while also playing a big role in PvE and PvP with trophies as well as teleports. One of the better housing systems I've seen, especially since furnishing, is a crafting skill. The weapon system is really awesome. Just like in Final Fantasy, switching roles from tank to DPS is as easy as switching weapons and armor. No need to make multiple characters when one can do all the things. Combat is action combat, which gets a nod in my book. This may be a bit of a bias point in my case, as I enjoy action combat over tap targeting when it comes to MMOs, but the combat is very fluid and simple, while allowing skill levels to shine in even 1v1 matches. Company wars and fort control is extremely fun, and probably the main endgame attraction. The whole idea of your guild owning and taxing an entire territory is a great mechanic. The bad. Let's start with exploits and bugs. I have never played a game, not just an MMO, but any game, with this many exploits and bugs still popping up on the daily. The most egregious being the exploits. Duping exploits come out almost once a week, and a lot of offenders are not even permanently banned, let alone the ones that do get banned, which have found ways to unban themselves, which I'm not going to leave here because I don't want them to figure that out if they haven't. Even if I thought that AGS was handling these cases well, it wouldn't matter, because for every one problem they fix, by next patch 2 new ones take its place. On top of that, even if all exploits and bugs were patched today, the economy on every server has been completely destroyed. There is no recovering from it like other games either, as the economy was already bad to begin with based on how certain in-game systems work. Which leads to life scaling. Yes, I have this in the good section as well. In terms of economy, the life skilling is completely broken. For example, I can create a character and immediately go farm iron. Let's say iron sells for 0.4 gold per ore on my server. I can sell 100 of them for 4 gold then. As I farm and level, eventually we get to orichalcum at 170 mining, or 175 mining, and a big grind. But here is where it gets weird. Orichalcum sells for 0.01 gold per. So for every 100 orichalcum, I make 1 gold. 4 times less than iron. Now why is that? Well, it's simple. To craft an orichalcum bar, you need 32 iron and only 8 orichalcum. On top of this, some of the endgame armor needs rare ore specifically found in orichalcum, whereas iron doesn't have this ore. Meaning, more people are going to farm orichalcum than iron. Descriptions do not matter. Nothing works as intended. Their values are misleading, and some just don't work at all. This can be said for almost all perks, armor descriptors, and everything else in between. For any of you Asmongold fans out there, if you've watched his review, he said it best in his review. The smartest AI in the game is a bison. The AI runs in dumb patterns, they are easy to dodge, and generally just don't function properly. Quests. They're all trash. Design, travel distance, rewards, all trash. Throw them away, rebuild. Enough said. Copy pasta. Almost everything in this game's code has been copied and placed somewhere else. The mobs, which you've seen all variations of by level 30, the quests, the caves, everything. Point to anything, and I would bet money anyone who is leveled to 60 can show you that same thing used somewhere else later in the game. It's lazy and it's repetitive. Roadmap. Where is it? All we have is speculative code leaks. Combat. Yet another thing I had in my good section. It is buggy, laggy, and unbalanced. I could go over each class individually and how everything is unbalanced, but that would be another huge time sink. The problem is you can't balance a game properly when every patch pushed is fixing 20 plus exploits and bugs. The end game. The endless grind for a watermark, which slowly raises V8 in each individual piece of gear. For example, your helmet, your chest piece, each have their own watermark. Same goes for weapons and jewelry. You raise this by running chests which respawn every 23 hours. By doing the final 2 expeditions, which are also an extreme grind to get orbs for, or by killing the same mob over and over again. Think BDO mob grinding, but instead of slaughtering thousands of different mobs, you kill one mob. Wait for it to respawn, rinse, repeat. The reason you will raise watermark is for higher gear score drops from 500 gear score up to 600 gear score once your character hits level 60. It is an extremely boring endgame grind and clearly not thought through or tested before release. And to make matters worse, the most recent patch, Into the Void, made this grind 10 times longer and 10 times harder. So what is the verdict? Well, let's start by saying the good section and the bad section could have been much longer. However, this video is already much longer than others that I have done in the past. I would like to point out, though, I made the bad section longer for a simple fact. I really want New World to succeed. I've been waiting, just like many other MMO gamers, for a good MMO. And while it may seem that I put a lot more in the bad section, it's for good reason. New World has a lot to work on, but they have a lot to build off of too. This game could be good if they just put in the work and listen to their community. My personal opinion is this: the fundamental systems of the game are really fun and enjoyable. You can get lost for hours life skilling away. The game has the makings to be extremely fun. All of this is not in the spotlight, however, due to how bugs, exploits, and exploiters are handled. Accomplishments do not feel as good when others get it for free. You can't set yourself apart from others when the game is broken in so many different ways. Instead, what you have is a community which lacks trust in each other and trust in the developer. With the current state, if AGS wants to right the ship and have a game for a long time in the future, the focus of the devs should be fixing the fundamental code. Once the exploiting and bugs are removed, and I mean fully removed and not coming back, then an offering of fresh servers with no transfers in is the only way to appease and right the wrongs done. Hello, full PvP servers maybe? Everything is tainted in the game's current state. Some may not want to start over, and that is fine. But to reel back in everyone who feels robbed of their hard work, I think it is the only way. As for do I think New World is worth the money right now? Well, yes. Even if I quit playing right now, I spent 600 hours in New World for a flat $40, no sub, and I am still going. That doesn't happen even in some subscription-based games. If you enjoy RPGs or MMOs, you 100% will get your money's worth here. The problems arise when you start to take the game really seriously in its current state. As you peek farther into the hole, the flaws start to show. If you are looking for a competitive PvP experience, your hopes will get shattered right now. It's best to set your expectations and competitive nature aside. Enjoy the PvE and casual PvP with a hope for the future. New World as a mainstream MMO has 10 out of 10 potential, but it's currently a 3 out of 10 state. Highly recommended to shuffle past all the talk and just play casually if you're an RPG MMO fan, and hope the journey ends at the game's potential ceiling rating. Well, gang, that's all I got for you today. If you made it to the end, you are an absolute unit. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. And if you watch my other videos, I appreciate you for that too. If you haven't already, hit the buttons. Tell your friends about the buttons. All that good stuff. I'll be back again. We're going to start uploading YouTube videos more often. Hope to see you there. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with anything I said, and I'll catch you in the next video. Later, YouTube!